Hi, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. My goodness. Good morning. Surprise. Shout out to everyone. Good morning or afternoon or morning. Okay, so I know, first of all, I hope everybody stays safe during the weather because I know it's a little bit crazy out there and everything. If you are in the negatives, can you put your negative number in the chat? Because I'm kind of curious to know where everybody's at. And let's see, make sure I fix this. We are going to go through the latest of Neo the Asian, Neo Langston's. I guess he bonded out. That's what we found out. I think 2 hours ago it was said that he bonded out. So we're going to get on that. Law&Crime did a video yesterday. SloanHooks did a video yesterday. So I kind of want to review at least Law&Crime today, and then I'll probably do a different review of Sloan. But the latest right now that we have is that Neo has bonded out. So we're going to get into that here. Welcome. I know, and there is so much that's being said. It's 12, but it feels like 0 in CT. Oops, stay safe, please. And thank you. You said, I'm confused. I thought he had no bond. Sloan said it. I don't know. I have not watched. I was told to, if I would review, I was asked whether I would review Sloan, but I have not watched it all. So I don't know what he said quite yet, but he did bond out. Let's get right to it because that's like the breaking news right now. So here is the receipt that SF posted. Neo Langston bonded out at about 9:41 a.m. this morning. He is no longer in custody. Hold up, y'all. I got to sneeze. 1 second. Oh my God, that's what happens when you like clean your area and then all the stuff starts flying everywhere. Anyways, I have here Neo Langston bonded out at about 9:41 a.m. this morning. He is no longer in custody. I didn't think, and it says right there, bonded out. I didn't think that anyone with like the whole grand jury thing, I thought that there was something like you had to see it unless he saw a judge. I don't know, but I was under the assumption that that was the only way you can get out on a grand jury thing, right? Like if you are a witness to the grand jury and you didn't show up for whatever reason, but maybe he did see a judge. I don't know. So let's go back a little bit. So he was arrested in Montana on the 22nd. Okay. He was arrested at his mother's house in the evening. It's what we know. We saw the video yesterday. We reviewed it, everything, right? And then we found out about the news on the 23rd. Social media did, the internet did, Reddit. Shout out to the Redditors. Okay. So we found out about the news on the 23rd. And then, with all that being said, his mugshot was released yesterday on social media. And, we kind of had a reaction. This morning, we found out that he was extradited back to LA. So from Montana to LA. And now we've also found out that he has been bonded out. That is what we know so far. So what we have here, let me see. And I'm going to go to Lauren Conlon's page real quick. Let me share this. Records show that Neo Langston is no longer in custody and has been bonded out of jail in Los Angeles. Neo, this is the update for the 24th, has been extradited to Los Angeles where records show he bonded out. So he bonded out. Somebody paid for that, okay? Somebody paid for him to leave. I was under the assumption that you at least had to see a judge. And what else do we have here? In order to arrest him for failure to appear, they had to serve him in person with the subpoena. So they encountered him in person not too long ago. Okay. So I'm kind of curious to know what you guys have to say in the chat. Let me go down a little bit. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm like behind in the chat. Yes, what is my like? Well, what is your like number? But also, if you're in the negatives, what is your negative number? Kind of curious. You said, what is the point of bringing him in if he could just walk? It's all procedural, honestly, when it comes to things like this. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's all procedural. You said, how could he get bonded out with the grand jury warrant? That's the question I don't understand. So maybe I got some legal eagles in my chat. He's out, and that means they finally got his statement. So now it's another waiting game. He was supposed to be held until he's interviewed. First Liberties podcast, but He was arrested on the 22nd, which would have been a Thursday, right? They extradited him today in the morning, and then he got the interview, and then he's bonded out. Like, I was under, so they just needed an interview, right? Is that what they needed? I was under the impression that he needed to see a judge or something like that. All of this over the weekend. That's interesting. So is Neil walking free? And if we're so, hold up. Your question is, so is Neil walking free? And if so, where is he staying in LA? TMZ better be. I don't think he's walking free. It's like First Liberties podcast said, they're interviewing him, and then that's it. Like, they got what they needed, and then he's not off the hook. But whatever bonding out means, I guess that's the thing, is I was under the impression that he would have had to have seen a judge before anything. I could be wrong. He said he's more likely has conditions of release set by judge when he also set bail. But has he seen a judge? Somebody, maybe he saw a judge. I don't know, man. He said, this isn't fair. Neo, the goofy, should have to talk. So he might have done an interview, right? And then they bonded him out. No worries, minds, y'all. Please take care of yourself while you're working. Hold up. Let me see. Rich streamer bonds out. And then, the mom is the ex-producer of MTV, also a theater person. So keep that in mind. Said, I don't think he can leave the state of California, though, now. Ooh, that's a great question. Can he leave the state of California? That is a great question. Hold up, guys. Let me make sure Yes. So again, for those that are just now coming in, the news is that Neo Langton has been released. He's out on bond. He's been bonded out. Okay. What the bond, how much is, I don't know. He is out of custody, meaning he is walking with everybody. He's like that's it. It doesn't seem right. You said he likely met with the judge this morning on a Saturday, though, and bond was set. He likely has conditions of release. I just didn't think that they would be doing any kind of work on the weekend. So how much does he have? That's a great question. What is the bond like for something like this? I thought he had no bond. I didn't hear anything about him not having no bond. I thought he had to wait there until he saw a judge. When would they get his interview / testimony? That's the question. He was just extradited this morning. So, yo, man, I'm telling you, man, there's the criminal justice system, and then there's the other criminal justice system. I'm trying to figure out which one are we in? Which one? He arrived in LA at midnight and was bonded at 9:23 in the morning. So he likely met with the detective. He needs money to be bonded. You said, I assume they wanted his statement ASAP. I guess I'm not familiar with the laws. You said you had to watch. Well, thank you for watching the ads, because that does pay us, by the way. Thank you. But I'm sorry that it's giving you that many ads. I promise it's not me that's setting them up. Hold up, y'all. And I have to shout out some people. I want to ask more specifically and see if I don't see anybody. Let's see. Wait until we find out he and D4VD disappeared to get married, so he doesn't have to testify against him. Oh, it'd be wild, but everything in this case has been. I didn't even think of that. They are adults, okay? So that would be an interesting move, right? They don't testify against each other because they got married. Would it matter if it was before or after? Oh my God. Okay, you said 60,000 bail amount, probably 10%. Flojo, where did you get the amount? Is there paperwork out there yet about the amount? Because I'm kind of curious. So if the bail is 60,000, he was bailed out, what, 10% of that, which would have been 60,000. Yeah, like all the courts are closed on the weekend. So how was he able to bond out? This is just crazy. You said LA system has such a fast turnaround. It's really crazy. But I've never seen anyone bond out, be extradited on midnight, and then be bonded out the same day that they're extradited. Fixing my sentence, because that has been the series of events throughout this whole thing, right? The LA court has such a fast turnaround. Yeah, it does. Okay. I bet David bonded him out. D4VD, I don't know. You said there are night courts now. What? He can see a judge overnight if need be. but he can't know exactly what went down since this is all under seal. Hold up. Does California, let me look this up, for a grand jury, do they have night court? Night court? Are you serious? Like, not even night court. Okay, hold up. Here it is. So a grand jury, of course, is a separate body that meets at a separate schedule. Okay. So night court would be like after hours arraignment and bail hearings, or an on-duty judge or a magistrate. That can happen for new arrests when the jail needs a judge to set bail or handle sensitive issues. That's different from grand jury proceedings. Okay, yeah, but let me give more see if I can pull something from, let's see what kind of, hold up, y'all. Let's just put the scenario, and I'm making this up in my head because I don't know if this is the scenario. I assume that this is the scenario, but I don't know if this is it. If a grand jury witness, which is what we think he was, right, fails to appear for his subpoena, to testify, and I'm thinking out loud, they skip, they decide to leave the state, and then the police come and pick him up on an arrest warrant because he was supposed to testify. Why all of this happened over the weekend? They extradited him. Don't forget that, because that's a whole legal process too. Extradited him. All of this happened over the weekend. Would he be able to bond? Would he be able to bond? That is such a loaded question, because I think that that's at best what has happened, right? That is a loaded question. Sorry, you guys. It really is. So it's possible for all of this to unfold over a weekend, and he may be able to bond. But it also depends on what kind of a warrant. So we have to figure out what kind of a warrant it is. We're thinking that we know. I don't know if it's been publicly or of record or anything. We need to find out what kind of a warrant, and he was arrested. Which state had him in custody at that moment? That is the question. 1 second, guys. Let's see. So we're talking about, my warrant from California, and he fled to Montana, right? And he was held in Montana. It's just the turnaround has been a little bit crazy, but I guess that maybe it's all procedural and they're able to do something like that. I'm kind of curious. You said, yeah, there are night courts. They have like an on-duty judge, but we can't know exactly what went down since it's all under seal. That's what I think. A lot of us are just curious. You know what I mean? Because listen, a lot of us regular people, if a judge tells us to go to court, there's a subpoena, I'm going to court. I'm not leaving the state. I'm not doing anything. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to comply and do what I have to do. Okay. So if there is if he's being held in Montana on a California warrant, the assumption is that there would be no bond or a very limited bond until the extradition hearing, especially if he waives extradition. So I hear where people came up with the narrative of no bond, but it sounds like if there's an on-duty judge for the weekend, they can have a hearing and he could just bond out. But that's the thing that I was a little concerned. I'm like, well, he hasn't even seen a judge, but he might have already. He might have already seen an on-duty judge for all we know, and everything is sealed. So we're not even going to get those details. Well, somebody, I bet mom got him out, y'all. I bet mom got him out. His bond totally includes staying in the area and reporting to the grand jury on a specific day. If he doesn't, totally not me. Toad. I like your name. It's cute. If he is bonded out, he needs to stay in Cali. He can't leave the state, right? So there's that. If he's, this is it right here. Totally not me. He can't. He has to comply with whatever they set there in Cali, right? Let me see. No way that he married that. Oh, okay. Hold up. I'm like having y'all are so bail was at 60,000. Okay, I'd have to check. If they got married, it doesn't count retroactively. Okay. Only what happens when discussed afterwards. All right. So he can't get married, whatever whatever they want to do, but it's not gonna block him from being able to testify or anything like that. Thank you, thank you for sending that over. I appreciate it. You said, can you drive to the jail or prison, whatever they're holding the person, and pay there, and then they open on the weekends? Well, that was the confusing part. But see, like I said, I guess there's an on-duty judge. That would be crazy if they got married. And I would suspect that Cali would be a place where you would have a night duty judge. Like that makes sense to me, right? Let's be very real. Hold up, let me go down. I got to catch up on this chat. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like really behind. The whole situation has been an eyebrow raiser every step of the way. Nothing surprises me anymore. Psh, BJ, honestly, like BJ, nothing surprises me. All you have to do is call bail's bond man, and then you get a court date on a month. Right. I just assumed that because it was a grand jury and it was a secret grand jury and they're trying to keep everything sealed, that they would have waited. But maybe they did see a judge on the weekend. You said you don't even have to definitely go to the court. The court could be closed, and the part whoever bails you out goes to the actual jail or prison to the bail. They have a person like that there. Got you, Songs. Thank you. Let me see. Okay, I gotta catch up, y'all. I'm so behind the chat. You said, well, if he was arrested on Thursday and extradited the same day, couldn't he have seen a judge yesterday? He was arrested on Thursday and he wasn't extradited until midnight. So he wasn't extradited until tonight, early in the morning, while maybe many of us were asleep probably when he was extradited. So, and then he was bonded out today too. So there's that. But he won't be able to leave the state. You said he's staying in Cali. So he said, no, not nighttime grand juries, just hearings with the magistrate. Yeah, there's no nighttime juries, guys. There's a on-duty judge, right? And there's a magistrate and stuff. And actually, like, I'm acting like I'm brand new to this. I should know this because I used to deal with this a lot. There's always going to be an on-call judge. So these judges, these magistrates, they work on rotation, right? So like, I remember several times where I had to call an on-call judge outside of hours. Somebody's always going to answer. There's always going to be a phone. So they do the same for the jails. They do the same for the DA's office. Like all these, there's an on-call judge all the time to answer, stuff like that. So yes, because I remember we used to have shelter hearings in. I'm acting brand new, but yes, this is correct. Thank you. For me, I was like, well, if it's a grand jury and it's under seal and all of this is happening, why would they bond him out so quick? Wouldn't they wait? But, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Yes, you're absolutely right, Ellery. It helps to keep the jail population down to having sensitive issues. Yeah, and these magistrates and judges work on rotation. You can go to the jail in LA and be out in like 8 hours. Well, there's that. Okay, down the rabbit hole. If you call a bondsman and get you out, then they give you a court date in the month. Super easy in Cali. Yes, but the part that makes it difficult is that this is a grand jury situation, right? So that's the part that, so I'm wondering what extra steps they had to take to ensure that that happened. This isn't like a traffic stop or a DUI type situation, if you know what I mean. That's why I was like, I wonder. But okay, hold up. I'm gonna just scoot down the chat here. And it's a felony. Yeah, some people were in the chat were saying that it was a misdemeanor. I don't think that it's a misdemeanor. It's literally a felony. Pretty sure they wouldn't have gone as far as to go out of state to pick you up on a misdemeanor. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. They wouldn't have gone as far to do all that. So it's crazy. I do have a question of all the persons that interested. Why haven't they told them they can't travel out of California? Because you can travel. So even if we read this in a couple videos ago, and I actually pulled the code and one of the blogs from one of the lawyers in California, defense lawyers. If you are a suspect in a murder, you haven't been formally charged, but you're a suspect, right? Even if you're not cooperating, it doesn't mean you can't leave the state. You can leave. Some people assume that just because they've called you a suspect or they think that you can't leave. No, you can. And some jurisdictions do it that way too. So until you get an actual, actual criminal complaint, and we haven't gotten one for D4VD yet, he could travel. He can be outside. Hell, he'd probably outside this country at this point. He could. This is why Neo is in Montana. He has not been formally charged. Once he's formally charged, it's a whole different ballgame. But that's a good question because people do get that confused. You said, since this case is a felony case, his warrant was a felony warrant. Yes, thank you. And that's why he could be pursued outside of the LA County. So yeah, so the people, there was a lot of confusion. People in my chat were like, well, this is a misdemeanor. No, it was a felony. They're not going to go waste their time to go pick somebody up at a different state to extradite them on a misdemeanor. No, this was a felony case. And that's why I was like, oh, this is yesterday. I'm like, this is serious, y'all. They're really taking this serious. It's a felony. I think that this is amazing because that was our concern. Remember when we first started talking about this? Well, the body in the car, it's a misdemeanor in California. No, they're looking at this on a felony level. So much so that they went to go get this guy, out of his, house in Montana, while he wore his Crocs and everything. But you're right. You said, I'm talking about felonies too, even pew charges. Yeah, some of them, it just really depends on the conditions. And also, are you I'm assuming that Neo doesn't have a record. This would be like a first time thing. So there's that. Hold up. Let me see. That is correct, Rabbit. Lauren Conlon said it would be a felony since the grand jury is convened for. Yeah, it's all felony. It's all felony. Thank you, Zen. Thank you. Like I said, listen, I got a bachelor's in criminology, so I know a little of my stuff, but I'm not like, here and there I know some stuff. Okay. I had my attorney old home number memorized. My dad's friend. It was 3 numbers of a pew that repeated only had to use it once. Ooh. You said it's treated as a civil contempt unless they want to upgrade the charges to a felony. I don't think this is a civil contempt, though. 9-1 Darby. I mean, like I said, they're at the felony level at this point with this one. But I hear what you're saying. You said they can add whatever they want to the bond conditions. The bond agent can't. That's right. And the court can't. Yes, that is correct. You said this is what a lawyer friend just told me. What did he tell you, Flo Joe? All right, I got to shout out some people because I'm like talking a lot. You said it's possible that the failure to appear got him a contempt of court charge, and that was the actual charge that he was arrested with. Yes, but the case itself is a felony level case. Correct. You said contempt of the grand jury is a felony. There you go. But that would mean he appeared. Neo was charged with failure to appear. I love how you put the red finger number 1. You said, I wonder if if the other are going to start getting, well, Barbabish, I do. That's the question. Okay, what's next? Right? Like, we're going to get there, right? Please note that. But I'm happy that this was like Christmas to me hearing this news yesterday. I was like, oh my God, and I mean it because it's like we've been waiting and you guys have come to my chat asking me, and I'm like, guys, I don't have any updates and I don't want to make up the news when it comes to this. This is very serious. The smug, again, I go by the smug face in his look. This guy does not give a damn. You can tell that, his mommy had to go bail him out, because what job is this guy? What does he have? I'm sorry. He looks like he's always been bailed out all his life. You said he was already extradited back to Cali and bonded out. Yeah. That's crazy. Really. Well, it's not that it's not unheard of. It's just that we didn't want it to happen this way. I know I didn't. But yeah. You said Cali trying to apply that pressure and will Neil break? Well, now that this is the generation, this specific, it's like a group of kids that are more worried about social media stuff. And I think that's why he's like smiling, because he knows that this is hit TMZ, hit everywhere and everything. You said, I think there's a lot of powerful people hiding on all this nonsense, says Yamaris. You said, I meant, okay, gotcha. You said, I bet he's under surveillance. Well, I don't know if he is or if he's not, but I'm here for it, man. I am so here for it. He probably is under surveillance. Who knows? You never know. Never. You said that smile, his smug shot, makes me nauseous. Yeah. I think he did it on purpose because he knew people were going to look at it. I mean, the guy's been off social media, right? And so has D4VD. The first appearance that you make is at a mugshot. What is he going to do? Smile. That's insane. Gotcha. Thank you. No worries. And correction. I meant misdemeanor. Failure to appear is different from contempt of grand jury. Sorry for that. That's right. Failure to appear and contempt of grand jury are two different things. Thank you. My thing is, if you can't really force someone to testify and they pull the I don't recall statement throughout the testimony. Well, what does this testimony even look like? What we don't even know, right? At this point, he's been interviewed by law enforcement. I'm pretty sure he's been interviewed by a lot of people. And you would think that, and maybe likely, he's already consulted with lawyers and stuff like that, right? Because that's what you do at this level. You consult with your lawyers and everything. But to me, the mere fact that you're not showing up to anything, right? Like that just shows a complete disregard for authority, for the law, for anything. That's what this shows. If you're not, if I receive a subpoena, you don't show up. It's just that's what it is. I don't know, man. Like I said, this is a different generation. I think. Just how I see it. Okay, hold up. Flojo just sent me some screenshots. Thank you, Flojo. What is this? Oh, is this on is this on Reddit? Let me see if I can pull the Reddit link. Actually, the Reddit link, because it'll show a little bit better on my end. Hold up. It's that D4VD idiots, right? Shoot. D4VD idiots. I think it's what it's called. D4VD idiots. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is what you might already have them. I don't actually. So thank you so much. Let's look at these screenshots. This is the bond. Because I didn't even know there was an amount already set. So this, remember I told you his middle name was Christopher? Here you go. Christopher. Yeah, that's him. And that's him. Okay, hold up. Is there another screenshot or is that it? Until he makes bail, Neil held at the Twin while he made bail. Let's see. Let's get the newest. Here it is. Neil bail set. Hold up. Let me close these out. set at 60K, arrest by LAPD gang division. The division descriptions are always kind of weird. So if you guys remember when we were covering the Nick Reiner situation, it said the same thing. I think it's just a labeling thing. I don't think that he was actually arrested by the gang unit. Also, please note that the LAPD has had some like internal structuring in their units. So, like for example, in the Celeste Rivas case, it's the homicide. They combined the homicide and the homicide and robbery into one unit. So keep that in mind. I don't think that the labels are always very accurate when it comes to this. There's been some changes. You said 60K is low. I think it's low too. Why not add 100,000? Why not at 100,000? Um, you said, "Geez, we're not even allowed to smile on our passport pictures." You might think that they would be told not to smile for a mugshot. Why did he smile? Anyways, that was weird. It was weird. You're not allowed to smile on. I don't think you can smile on. Did I smile on my passport picture? I have to see. Um, you said, yeah, the fact that he thought that he could just ignore a grand jury. That's what I'm saying. I'm not ignoring no grand jury. So us regular people who were raised with consequences, and if you do this, we would never do something like that, right? Like we would show up. If somebody subpoenas me to a grand jury, I am not going to. We're showing up, okay? Us regular people. How do you know that? I looked up the house and did research on it and more info there. How do I know what? I'm confused what your question is. He could look up court docs to see what's been filed and see if there's any special conditions. I don't know what we can. I don't think anything's available to us. But okay, so here, this is the website for the search, and it sounds like it was. So bond was set at 60,000. He only has to pay 10% of that, which is 6,000. So there's that. Like I said, he gives me the impression that mom pays for everything. So mom or dad or somebody paid for something when it came to this. I mean, they're not going to let their child, you know. And again, their child. He's 23. Okay. By that age, I already had my oldest. All right. This is what I'm saying. Is like we have to be very careful how we are identifying and doing things here when it comes to this. He said, all of this makes me so mad. There's another YouTuber that said that when Celeste was 10. Oh, I heard about this. We actually talked about that. Barbara says, you have been busy, Rabbit. Great coverage. Well, thank you, Barbara Bish. Thank you. I'm just excited that we are getting places. We're going somewhere with this. And thank you for the $1.99. I appreciate you. You said, let's see. At least we know that there's a grand jury now, right? Yes, they can hold you. And Celeste was out here on the streets looking. You said, and remember, they said that it was a female. I think Neo identified as a female too. Well, that's the question that I have. Remember when TMZ put that out there about the that it was, they overheard that it was a female and that they were going to file something because the female was refusing to testify. I don't know if she did or didn't show up. I'm not really sure. So who's the female? Unless we're saying that it's Neo? Which one is it? What are we doing? What do you guys think? Let me know. Did we just, I don't know. You said there's probably multiple witnesses and not cooperating showed up. Right, 9-1 Darby. You said maybe the female got arrested and built. Well, we don't know who that's going to be. TMZ knows your D before you. TMZ knows everything. They put it out there before it's even, they've done it too wrongly to people too. So they put that out there. Maybe the info was wrong. Well, it does make you wonder, like, what's up with that? Oh, okay. When was this? Thank you. Flojo. So look at this. Before we get to our commentary over there, D4VD's friend, Neo, squirreled away at mom's ado before arrests. So he was hiding there. D4VD's friend Neo was kicking back at his mom's cozy Montana home before police paid him a surprise visit. It's probably people didn't even know that he had a Montana home, that mom had one, and busted him for failing to appear as a witness in Los Angeles, TMZ learned. We've seen that as we first reported. No, you didn't first report. Shout out to the Redditors who first reported, okay? Neil was pictured getting handcuffed by a small army of cops. That was a lot of cops, y'all. Look, I was trying to count how many police officers. Even this picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 police officers. Pretty sure they had several cars there. So he was booked and then transported to LA and then booked into the LA Metropolitan Detention Center at a $60,000 bail. Public records show that Neo's mom, Cynthia, purchased her home in March of 2025. She just bought her house last year. TMZ reached out to Cynthia about her son's arrest, and she declined to comment. Of course she did. Around November 2025, a grand jury was convened to investigate the death of Celeste Rivas, whose dismembered corpse, they're saying dismembered still, was found inside D4VD's Tesla. All right. So our sources say that D4VD is viewed as a suspect in Celeste's apparent homicide, but he was not arrested, has not been arrested or charged. We're told a second suspect has also been identified. Oh, a second suspect has been identified. A second suspect? Outside of Neo? Really, Flo Joe? For the record, it was a neighbor of that mom's house who arrested, reached out and reported his arrest to me. Did y'all see this? They said that there's a second. So is this outside of Neo? I'm telling you, man, something tells me that there's like 4 people involved. 4 people involved. BJ said it too. Shout out to BJ. Oh, a second suspect. There were 7 officers. Aisha, whatever the hell her name is. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there's got to be more, I think, or at least that knew and didn't do anything or were aware of what was going on. If the police arrest me for something, at least let me get my shoes, says D4VD skill. They don't get, well, if you get a nice arresting officer, they will, but they don't need to. They won't. I thought they said D4VD is named a suspect last year. David and Neo are, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it this Miss Let's Go? That's the question that I have. When they said a second suspect, because I thought it was D4VD and then Neo, right? Unless there's another suspect. That's why I'm like, I don't know what to make of that. Smug shot. Remember when TMZ reported that? They said, you're right, because this stood out to me too. We had D4VD and then we had what we believe the second suspect being Neo. Unless there's another suspect. He said, I wonder if Neo will end up being the fall guy. Maybe D4VD will pin it on him since he was the one who moved the car, the last person to move the car, right? Think about that. David is probably in rehab. Blair Burke is known for putting their clients in rehab. Yes, she is. To get them out of the public eye. Don't be calling no rehab. Do not be calling people, y'all. Don't be calling no rehab clinics now. Don't be doing all that. And they won't confirm or anything because all of that is like medical related. They can't release information. You said, what if that was Neo's Tesla gift from D4VD? I think that we would be reaching when we, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, well, how do we know and what we know? So second suspect is that D4VD? Well, first suspect I would assume would be D4VD. Second would be Neo. Unless there's another suspect. Then why didn't they write it as They're looking at a third suspect. It's a confusing sentence, guys. I don't know how much this really tells us. It says, our sources say D4VD is viewed as a suspect. Okay, there's D4VD in an apparent homicide, but he has not been arrested or charged. We're told the second suspect has also been identified. Well, would that be Neo? Or would that be outside of Neo? Is Neo viewed as a suspect? I'm so confused. Could it be the manager? Or is it intentionally written like that to make people speculate? I don't know. Someone put a Wikipedia that suspects are D4VD and his manager. I also saw a similar statement somewhere as well. You said the first suspect, D4VD, second. Okay, so then why would they put the sentence that way? And then it says, we're told a second suspect has also been identified. D4VD is viewed as a suspect. So wouldn't Neo be the second one unless there's another one? That's what I'm right there with you. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's weird, but I could see where people would assume that there was a second suspect. Well, ultimately, I'm assuming that the conditions of the bond is that Neo can't leave Cali, so he's kind of stuck in California, right? Maybe, I don't know if it's necessarily clickbait, because it is kind of like interesting. Hold up. Flojo just sent me something. Thank you, Flojo. Hold up. All right, so this was posted. Oh, this was posted yesterday. I forgot we were going to read this. So, the arrest of Neo for failure to appear to give testimony, which are the exact words used by the sheriff's department when speaking with me, concerns me to an extent, assuming this arrest is related to the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Targets are not typically called to testify in a case. Is Neo a witness to the case? Because if he was a suspect or a defendant, he wouldn't be called to the grand jury. Oh my God. Is First Liberty's podcast in the chat? I feel like, where are you at, love, if you're in here? Here's my question, if you know this. The grand jury is not calling the defense. They don't call the defense. Okay? They're not calling, D4VD is not testifying, right? Or anything like that. If Neo is a witness, then how is he a suspect too? How are you a witness and a suspect in the grand jury? That doesn't make sense. You can't be both. In a grand jury, it's just for the prosecution and, you know, the detailing of the case and everything. That's all this is. Is Neo a suspect? It doesn't make sense that you would be both. Let me check something. That's insane. I mean, I guess it can happen, but in a grand jury, anyone that has relevant information could be subpoenaed. If the prosecutor believes you might be involved, even if you're not charged yet, you could still be called as a witness, but essentially a target or a subject, which is what the verbiage that SF just used. Targets are not typically called to testify in cases. Okay? If prosecutors believe you might be involved, even if you're not charged yet, you can still be called as a witness, but you're essentially a target or a subject witness. So what happens if you're a suspect and get called? You still must show up if you're properly subpoenaed. You can invoke the Fifth Amendment and refuse to answer questions that could incriminate you. Prosecutors may offer immunity, okay, to compel testimony. If immunity is granted, refusing to testify can lead to contempt/jail. So, If the prosecution believes that you are a potential suspect, they typically say they typically don't want you to testify. And if you testify, it only has to happen when immunity is in place. And everything has to go through like their counsel, and especially because of the Fifth Amendment, right? So you can be subpoenaed as a witness even if you're also a suspect, but you're going to be it's like higher stakes, if that makes sense in this case. Ah, okay. You said so. I guess it just depends if he took immunity, but the prosecution is taking a risk here, and it says targets are not typically called to testify in cases at the state level. Target letters are not always required, but subpoenaing a target without providing notice is extremely risky. A defense attorney would likely argue that any testimony was coerced. Had Neil received a target letter, he almost certainly would have retained counsel and invoked his Fifth Amendment right. That makes me think that he is viewed as a witness rather than someone currently at risk of being charged. Did one person act alone in concealing Celeste's body? If this was a homicide, did a single individual act alone without a conspirator? I find that unlikely. This leads me to believe that Neo may represent a last ditch effort by prosecutions, a Hail Mary of sorts, because they do not yet have what they need to fully make the case. They may be attempting to pressure him into cooperating, potentially by offering immunity. Is Neo the last hope? If that is the situation, it suggests that the case is largely circumstantial, which could help explain the prolonged delay. I may be misreading the situation, but when I learned of Leo's arrest, my stomach dropped. I'm deeply concerned about both the strength of the case and the pursuit of justice for Celeste. While charging one person is better than charging no one, everyone who bore any culpability in this minor's death or in the concealment of her body should face the most severe punishments available under the law. However, it doesn't feel like that will be the case. Not to me, anyway. Oh. First Liberties, what did you if you're in the chat, I asked what your thoughts were that D4VD. Thank you. Targets and suspects and witnesses are three different things for grand jury purposes. A target could be a suspect or a witness, but suspects aren't supposed to be there. So either it's immunity and he has information that could help out. Could this be a circumstantial case at this point? Oh my god, like wow. It's very likely that Neo is not a suspect then, right? Who is the second suspect? TMC said that they've identified a second suspect. It can't be Neo. Maybe. Is there somebody else though? Then that would be a different label then. He's a witness. Exactly. For the grand jury purposes, David is a target, not a suspect, because that would unfairly prejudice the evidence against him. Yeah. Shit. Oh my god. Sorry, y'all. Like that. Okay. I guess. I guess we'll see. Hmm. Was the manager considered a witness? That's a great question, Meow. Is the manager considered a witness? That is the question that I have. Two suspects are D4VD. I don't know who. I mean, You said his body go well, again, we don't even know yet, guys. I guess we'll find out. You said it has to be right. Well, I guess I'm going to leave you guys to tell me what do you guys think about that. I want to review the Law and Crime video on this too, but maybe we can dig in a little bit more to that. But it was his smug, like, I'm like, oh my God, he's so smug on that. Target letters are often written to inform someone that he or she could be one or both. Warn the person not to leave the jurisdiction. Usually this doesn't happen because they will fun away anyways. Hmm. I'm sorry. It's just so irritating. Like I'm like, "Oh my god. Yeah, you're right." Like the smug look is just like ridiculous to me. Let's get into this. I'm going to pull some more articles. So, when TMZ says a second suspect has been identified, the second suspect might not be Neo. You said I agree. He's talking Bond to see if D4VD comes and tries to what? And squeeze all that information out of him. There might be a second suspect and it might not be Neo. But if he allegedly was the last person to have driven that car with her body there? I don't know, man. Um that's just crazy work. That is just crazy work. You said, hold up. Let me see. So Neo has to have been given a date to appear in court. And if he fails, he will be arrested. But he's just a witness. So far, that's what it looks like that we know of. That we know of. Based on just how things are moving. That he's just a witness. He's not like a suspect or and again, he wouldn't if I don't unless they offer him some kind of a plea deal, which maybe they did, we don't know. That could very well be the thing. Maybe there was a negotiation and everything. But if that is the case, then why would he even fail to appear? You want to clear your name, you're going to do it, right? Especially if you've been offered some kind of a plea deal. Unless you're just a witness and they're just looking at you that way. I don't know. You said, I think he's singing. You put a large amount of time over a young kid's head. They tend to sing. No worries. No worries, Arizona. Thank you. I mean, y'all got to take it easy too. Like I know it's very draining sometimes, and I think part of it is because we want not only do we want movement, we want justice for Celeste. The other inmates will think Neo is okay. Y'all are too much. You guys are laughing it up in the chat. None of these people appear to care about death or that's what I'm saying. It's like the disconnection of it. It's almost like a big game or something. Like it's like a joke or of some sorts, and at the expense of, you know, her life. Like her life. Crazy. Crazy, man. You said it's saying some you said the only reason Neo would be there while there is evidence of a crime against him is because he was given immunity. That's what I'm thinking. But here's the deal. He would not be allowed to stay silent on that issue. Here's the deal for Liberties podcast. Does it make sense that if you're offered immunity, you don't show up to be a witness, to do what you're supposed to do? And so now they got to go look for like you just got offered immunity in a case, right? So I don't know. I mean, typically in a situation like that, you kind of take it and you don't miss the court date and you show up, right? But that's just me. He probably has some type of a counsel, and D4VD has. Maybe they have, you know how they do like the co-counsel sometimes, but you have to be careful because of the conflict of interest and stuff like that. They're not telling him to give any information, right? 91 Darby. Well, that's a good point. The lawyers have to talk. Well, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. If I'm offered immunity, um, I'm gonna show up so that I can be a witness. I mean, why would I not show up? I'm not hiding out in my mama's house, you know. Who's Sakura? Sakura says the truth will always prevail. Who's that? I'm not familiar with her. Is she the one that was on that one video? She looks familiar, but I'm not. Y'all gonna have to fill me in. Who is this? And you guys keep saying it in the chat. Her name is Sakura, not Shakira. Not Shakira. Sakura, like the flower, right? It could be possible that they have ruled out Neo being present at the time of the murder, but he could have been around afterwards, right, to help with the concealment and stuff like that. Jason the Ween's ex? But what does she have to do with all this? The truth will always prevail. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hold up. The truth. So on the 26th, Sakura points. This is all D4VD circle. On the 26th, Sakura posted, "The truth will prevail." And then Jason the Ween, "The truth will always come to light." That was on the 23rd. Girl, what truth are y'all talking about? I mean, I literally feel like Batman because I'm like, what? This is all D4VD's circle. Ah, okay. Thank you. She went on the party with them on that July 4th video. And of course, people are probably like, do you know about this, and tagging them and stuff and everything? That would make sense. That would make sense. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Shout out to them. Absolutely. It's weird because I mean the subliminals are very subliminal. This is insane. Same thing with Harmony's mother. Let's see. It's one named Betty anymore. You said Barbara Bush is like, is anybody named Betty here? It's a young crowd. Hold up. I don't know why Barbara Bush's comment like made me laugh. Hold up. Oh my god, I needed that. Hold up. Look at this. So let's look in the stream. Hold up. Thank you, Flo. Look at Flojo. Shout out. Oh, okay.
Did you guys know that me and David are actually related?
My second cousin.
Yeah.
Me and Asia go to like the same family functions. Like we go on road trips. Like she's in the backseat type. Low key,
Backseat.
I'll be there too, bro. Some driving.
So that's her.
You're right.
Okay, here's the groupie fangirl. This girl is the one that this is Sakura, right? And then there's Neo, and then there's D4VD, right?
I did. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see her driving too. I was like, they're driving there.
Are you done?
Yeah.
He was a fairy. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
He's a fairy. I would take one piss before you.
Yeah.
Is that David? No. Who's that? Let me know when to go over. What was that reaction?
No.
Let me go over. Oh, dude, it's so tragic.
I want you to go under like an alias, make a whole different like genre of music to see if you can blow up again.
Okay, right. Freaking.
Your rapper name?
Scared someone run through the
Big D's good. That's what I love you like I do. Big D. Yeah.
Wow.
You like
why is Keanu Reeves singing?
Yes.
Keanu, you? I guess so. I can't. Well, I can try. We're farming low key. Am I? Yeah, I got water. I got water. That's not water. I got a lot of water. So much water. That's not. There's water. We float in water. Float in water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are mine.
Definitely torture. I would say so. I would say definitely torture for sure. 1 second, guys. You said who's the other girl in the blonde? That would be Asia. Asia. You said watch Neo's eyes. Yeah, it's torture, but this is the hang. So this just tells you how close these individuals were. So that would make sense to put something up that says the truth will reveal or prevail, or the truth will expose something. Okay. All right.
That's water. It's water.
Because they were all in the same circle.
You got drugs?
Oh, wait, I think I got my pills in there.
You put this in the bag too?
Well, you don't mind.
You put.
Oh, his nails turned back.
Fuck you, bro. I'm looking at your packing, bro. Go fuck yourself. I'm gonna get paid, guys. I'm not getting paid for this bullshit, bro. Fuck this, bro. Fuck all y'all dead ass.
Oh. No, do you make up? No.
ABC. Oh, yes,
Baby,
sir. I apologize in advance to win my bathroom.
Oh my God.
That's why I'm like,
I don't care, I just took a shit again.
another one? Type shit. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. I know.
Yeah, you might do
Look at my wall.
I mean, it just shows you how close they are, this is the friend group. So clearly something is amiss, right? If you're going to post on this is her, if you're going to post on your Twitter, the truth will always prevail. And people are like, which truth? Like, this is kind of like the elephant in the room, right? Especially everything that's going on. And then there's this one on January 23rd. The truth will always come to light. So these are individuals that were in the same circle. You know what I mean? Neo says, I'm not even getting paid. That's what he said. Yeah. You see his eyes. It's crazy work. You said, I wonder what I look like in my 20s hanging out with this circle. I'm glad we didn't have social media. Well, we didn't have social media. We did, but not like this. At least when I was in my 20s, I don't feel like I was really into it like that. Why does no one consider Celeste's cousin who went to the concerts in the theme park with David and Celeste a bit suspect? Why does she get a pass in all this? What do you mean by how does she get a pass in all of this? Are you talking about Esmeralda? I guess I don't, is it Ellie Jones? I don't know what you're asking. Are you asking like with I don't know what her cooperation has been with law enforcement. She could very well be cooperating or not. We don't know. I also think the other factor to this is that, well, what does this look like? What does it look like as far as the family? My understanding is that the family is cooperating with law enforcement. They're just not speaking publicly yet. And I think that's the primary situation, is that they want to bring maybe justice to her daughter at this point. But I don't know what it is that you want the cousin. Like, do you want her to, well, what are you asking? That's what my question is. I think the cousin knows a lot. Yeah, I would assume that she knew a lot, right? I think the cousin knew a lot, but I don't know was she around when Celeste, like, was she in the Tesla when Celeste's body was in the Tesla? I mean, there's different questions that people are asking. She's not a suspect. Did she know about the relationship? Very likely. I would agree, probably. She probably knew about the relationship, but she was also a minor herself. I think she was like 17 or something, around this time. So what outside of just telling her mom and dad, and some of these adults were aware, like, what else were they supposed to do? That's all. How should we hold her responsible? Because she was also a minor too. That's the thing, is like, what is it that you want Esmeralda to have happen? I think they all knew about the relationship. I also think, hey, Slide, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. And not only did they all know about the relationship, I also think that, they kind of went with the flow because they really couldn't do anything, Cheeks, he looks into the camera as if he shouldn't be talking about this. Right. You said, and people are drinking, doing all kinds of things, You said, I will say follow the money. Who had the most loosened by David having a relationship with Celeste? D4VD and the record, the Interscope people. Yeah, I think that they accepted it. And this is a reality of it. I 1000% agree with your comment. Noemi, realistically, Celeste's parents knew and did nothing, so she was unlikely to overall her parents. Yeah, sorry, I'm like misreading your comment. Sorry about that. So that's what I'm saying, is like, what is it? People knew, the parents knew. I mean, think about it. Back when all this broke, TMZ spoke to the parents. TMZ said that mom said that she had a boyfriend named David. She had a tattoo, like very specific details that you would know. And they hadn't talked to her in a long time, that they were concerned about her safety. Yeah. So I just don't know how much, if the parents weren't outside of calling her missing. What else were they supposed to do? It's very hard. And you can't just put a chain on your child either. That's the thing. Very hard. But that being said, though, the whole circle knew. I mean, even D4VD's friends, who Jason the Ween, the Sakura girl, Aisha, whatever the hell, all these other people, they were in a circle and they knew. They knew what was up. They acted like they didn't know what was up, but they knew. They just, they knew what was wrong. I think that's what it comes down to. All right, we're going to get into this video. Now, hold up. Before we get into this video, let me shout out some people because I'm like late. James and Minds Y'all gifted memberships. Thank you, James. And thank you, Minds Y'all. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. If you've been gifted, put some hearts in the chat. Danielle Marie, thank you for your membership for 2 months. Jane Foster, member for 9 months. Thank you. Sarah, member for a month. Thank you. And Barbara Bish, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Chantel, thank you for your membership for 7 months. Thank you, guys. Thank you again for supporting the channel. Let's watch this, give some commentary. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to react to the one with Sloan because I know he did one, but I haven't watched it. So I'm kind of curious to know what that looks like. And then, we'll definitely go live again tomorrow about this and see if any other updates have happened.
18-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who was found dead, her decomposed body found in a Tesla reportedly registered to singer David. This was back in September out in Los Angeles.
Skip through some of this.
Clear, David hasn't been charged or officially implicated in any crime, but with the reports of a grand jury, this is a flexible situation. We've always wondered what could come of that. Now, according to a representative for the Lewis and Clark County Jail, there was this warrant out for Langton's arrest. And as the information's coming out, again, we looked at the court records. It seems to be 23 years. He's 23 years old. It was originally for an unspecified warrant. So at first, while we couldn't confirm exactly what it was for, TMZ reported, though, that this warrant was out of Los Angeles and it was for failure to appear as a witness. And by the way, he's currently being held without bond. And TMZ has also reported that police in Montana have been working with LAPD's robbery homicide division. And we believe that has been the unit that has been heading up this investigation into what happened to Celeste. By the way, this jail is out in Montana, population about 70,000. The jail is in Helena. It's the capital city. It's almost 1,200 miles from LA. So we think about that. Now, why is this also important? It's important based on our past reporting, because as we previously discussed on Sidebar, TMZ reported that with this grand jury apparently being impaneled, there was a discussion, an alleged discussion outside the courtroom about an uncooperative witness. Okay, we go back to a conversation that may have happened in December between Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman, who we believe may be spearheading this case, and Attorney Evan Jennis. And Jennis represents apparently.
So was the person that was not cooperating male and not female? That's the thing. Is like, are we talking about the same person or what? Don't forget that TMZ brought their reporter out there and said word for word what was heard. So I'm curious to know about that. Honestly, I don't know. Ronan, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Ronan. Appreciate you. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to my beautiful, wonderful mods. Flojo, thank you for the $4.99. Thanks for continuing to cover this. No, thank you for keeping me on my feet and letting me know what's going on. I appreciate it. And again, if you guys have not checked out Flojo's channel, go check it out because he's been covering this to the T, and he's in that area. He's able to bring us kind of very exclusive information. Thank you, Flo, so much for that. Is a goddess vibe. Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you. Thank you for supporting the channel. All right, let's keep going. But now I'm wondering about this reporting, unless there was a female. Because listen, we went live and we talked hours about this. Was it a female or was it Neo the whole time?
Currently both a witness, so maybe Neil Langston, and Robert Morgenroth. Now, Robert Morgenroth is apparently the head of David's touring company and a manager of his label. We previously reported that Morgenroth has been potentially questioned, and we previously reported that Morgenroth had been questioned in front of this grand jury. Obviously, we don't know anything officially. Authorities aren't going to confirm it, but that's based a lot on the reporting, including from TMZ. So if you have an uncooperative witness, and now you have Neil Langston being arrested out in Montana, potentially for failure to appear as a witness, you put 2 and 2 together. We're starting to see what might be going on here. Now, Neil Langston, we believe, is a friend of David. We've seen him in photos with the singer. He has posted content himself. Don't know the exact connection. We also don't know if he knew Celeste, if he had a relationship with Celeste of some kind. And again, we can't officially confirm that he was supposed to be testifying about, in front of this grand jury. But again, we're trying to put 2 and 2 together. I want to bring on retired Detective Commander Will Svilar to talk about this. Will, thank you so much for coming on. Again, we're still developing this. I'm still looking for breaking news as we record this. This is a big development. Your thoughts?
Well, if he's being held for a failure to appear as a witness, that's a contempt of court charge. So the charge is contempt of court. They're going to extradite him, bring him back to LA. It sounds to me like, 2 and 2, like you said, the grand jury's been convened since November. What happens then is the prosecution is presenting witness after witness, putting evidence in against a specific targets for a specific charge. So bringing this guy in, they probably believe has pertinent information to support this charge. And it sounds to me like the noose is starting to tighten around the offender.
If we assume that he was supposed to be testifying in front of the grand jury, and obviously we know grand juries are kind of one-sided, it's the prosecution presenting enough evidence to suggest, hey, can you return an indictment? First, we had thought that it was just an investigative grand jury that couldn't return an indictment. Then there was reporting, no, this is a grand jury that can return an indictment. The standard to get back an indictment is relatively low, but it's the prosecution's case. They're presenting evidence to support whatever charges they're looking for here. If we assume he's been an uncooperative witness, and we assume he's all the way in Montana, so 1,200 miles away, timeline's interesting, right? So the reporting in December of an uncooperative witness, and now in January, I wonder if they might have had trouble finding him. I don't know the circumstances of his arrest. I don't know.
That's a great question. Did they have trouble? Wouldn't they have had to have talked to him before any of this? Like, was he cooperative then? Now? What are we doing? That's the question that I have. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You said another channel covered Celeste's previous BF. I've talked about this already. That was like, when did I talk about this? A couple months ago. It's been a minute, but we talked about this. It's all procedural, it seems like to me. Like, it's all about procedures and stuff like that. Let me see what you're saying. Neo's probably staying in LA together with D4VD. There's that. Maybe. Who knows?
Talk to me about the cooperation. If you have LAPD now working with Montana to maybe find him, I do wonder, was there an issue to figure out where he was?
Sure, it could have taken a while to find him, but once you swear out a warrant and you put a warrant across the database, across the country, anywhere this guy gets stopped, it's serviceable. As long as it's a good warrant, it's serviceable, and there's extradition involved, it gets served wherever he is. And you get it out there across law enforcement channels, you put it in the leads. Once it's in leads, every law enforcement agency has it. So regardless of where he went, he was eventually going to get caught. Now, they may have had some information from whatever sources that he was up in Montana, but this could be as simple as a routine traffic stop where he gets picked up on a name check.
What do you think his connection is to this case?
Well, he's a friend. He's an influencer. I think the purpose of the grand jury is to try to find out what that connection is. And again, there's so many different things out there with these influencers and the YouTube. I don't know what his connection would be, but the grand jury wants to find out, and the prosecution wants to find out.
Like I said, there's a disconnect between, like, yeah, there is this group, the younger generation that is like influencer. They know how all this stuff works out. He smiled for the mugshot, just like when 9-1 Darby said. He was like, well, because he knows that he doesn't feel like they have anything on him. If you are offered immunity and you're a witness, right, you would think that you would cooperate at the very least, make sure you show up and whatnot. He does this. Personal says the fact that they had marshals go to the house in Montana means he was uncooperative. Otherwise, he would have gone to his own with his lawyer. Yeah, and all this just cost him, right? Like, your mom had to bail you out. $6,000, which could be a drop on the bucket, for them and whatnot. I know. Listen, they always throw shade at us. Let me just say this. I am not, first of all, I'm not an influencer. I don't feel like I can influence people to do anything. I hope that that's not the case of this channel. We don't influence here, but they're talking about a specific generation. Because what are they famous for? Neo's not famous, right? He just happens to be attached to, this situation. D4VD it's a different level of celebrity. So there's that. It's a whole different crowd, man. It really is.
And again, now you can bring him back, extradite him, make him go to the grand jury, but he can still take the fifth, doesn't have to testify.
Yep. I was going to ask you that. I mean, if this is true, he's uncooperative, what's the value? What's the value? But then again, I guess they believe if he takes the fifth, I do wonder what that would look like and what the value of it is. But by the way, I don't even know if he's somehow implicated in this. We don't even know that as well. If they're like, if he's not just a witness, but he's somehow potentially a criminal defendant.
There you go.
We don't know. And a lot of this is speculation because we don't even know what charges they're looking at. I can't officially confirm what David would be looking at if they are looking at him. Because at first it was there might not be any charges other than concealment of a body. They weren't 100% sure it was a homicide. It was a murder. Reporting kind of changed on that. So again, you do wonder what his role might be.
Well, if it comes back, the medical examiner comes back that this is a homicide, changes everything. If it's a homicide, Now you're looking at a murder charge. This grand jury is being presented information and evidence to support a specific charge
Yes.
against a specific person or persons. Could this guy be part of it? He could be, or he could just.
But is he a suspect, or is he just a witness? TMZ article says that they're looking at a second suspect. For the longest time, we assumed, well, D4VD and Neil. Can he be both? Unless he was offered immunity to be a witness. I don't know if he can be both. So I'm kind of curious to know about this and what this looks like. Montana is very close to Canada, says Greek lady. Shout out to you, Greek lady. D. Marie says they want his statement under oath and impeachable, in my opinion. Potentially, right? Yeah, it is what it is. No, you are not, Abraham. You are not influenced by this chat. I do not influence anybody. Okay. Y'all are so funny in the chat. Taking a plea deal or immunity pleading the fifth is, it's insured, right, Slide? So that's why I'm just sitting here wondering, I'm like, all right, so what role is this guy playing? And y'all know I'm not a fan. Like, this smug look just pisses me off, even here. It just does. I wonder if his mom was home when he was arrested. Like, was she home when all this went down?
Be a witness. Now, the benefit of bringing him in, if he decides he doesn't want to testify, he wants to take the fifth.
He can't be
then the
both.
judge can make him sit. The judge who issues a warrant can make him sit in jail. And, up to 30 days, you might change your mind.
That's a good point. And Montana. I wonder, they talk about what's the connection here, right? First of all, we don't know where David is. Have no idea where David is. He's been radio silent, no idea where he is. They talked about this kind of Santa Barbara trip that David may have taken and whether or not it has any connection to what happened to Celeste, because we don't have an official, let's be clear, we don't have a cause or manner of death. The medical examiner's report.
A lot of these celebrities, well, I don't know. I think the mama's, I don't know if I would consider her a celebrity. She's like a producer or whatever, right? These people move to these areas to kind of stay away from the Hollywood limelight. They kind of go up there and they get these houses and stuff. Like, was it Jeffree Star who moved to Wyoming? And, they buy these properties and stuff like that because it's like away from all the noise and stuff. So I'm not at all connection. I mean, it's just a house that they purchased there. First Liberty says, nope, he can't be both. In order to get immunity, he has to appear before a judge, which is what he didn't do, hence the arrest. Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you're offered immunity, why wouldn't you appear in front of a judge? Like, this isn't like, I'm going to miss school today and not go to class. No, you can't be both. Also, remember that TMZ says suspect. For grand jury purposes, they don't say suspect because it's unfair to the accused. Neo is a witness. Yeah, there's that.
It's been sealed. We don't know exactly if they have a theory of when she died, where she died, how long she's been in that car. But Montana, now I wonder whether or not LAPD will have the ability to go to Montana and maybe see if there's any evidence connected to Celeste's death there, or it's just Montana's somehow connected to this guy and not anybody else.
Well, every time that my guys had warrants that got served out of state, the first thing I did was put them on a plane to wherever that warrant was served and to see if they could get some conversation going before extradition. So I'd be really surprised if LAPD wasn't in Montana right now talking to this guy or trying to talk to this guy.
We also have gotten word that they're going to continue to have witnesses testify, maybe even into next month. So for those who are wondering whether or not an indictment will come out or whether an indictment will come down soon, what is your theory on this? And also, by the way, do you think in a case like this where there's so much speculation and there's the possibility, when you think about what happened to Celeste, whether or not multiple people can be involved, do you think that this is a grand jury that is hearing evidence against multiple people and there would be multiple indictments or indictment containing multiple defendants at the same time?
Absolutely could well be. And I can tell you, like you mentioned earlier, the threshold to get an indictment, to get probable cause, to indict it, to move it on to trial, to the next phase, isn't that high. Okay, it's like probable cause. But if you're bringing all these witnesses, you're laying out a pretty complex complaint or a complex argument that possibly there could be more than one person. Matter of fact, I'd be surprised if there was only one person.
Even as I'm reporting this, I'm realizing
I don't think so.
How little information we actually have about this. Do you think once there's an indictment, or if there's an indictment, authorities will release the information they have? They petitioned a court to
I need 5 minutes and
seal the medical examiner's records. Do you think it's all going to be released? I mean, do you think all that information will be released to the public, the media? I know it's still an ongoing investigation, I imagine, but when will they give answers?
I mean, the records are sealed right now. That grand jury is always sealed. until a judge says you can give information. If there's an indictment on this, I think you're going to hear an indictment. You're going to hear an announcement of an indictment. You may get some background, but I don't think they're laying out their whole case. And we can't get it because right now all the transcripts are sealed. So until
we can't get nothing, everything is sealed. At some point, it won't be, but we'll see. I can hear the involvement. You said no doubt on my mind that there's more. Oh yeah, definitely more than one person. Wide open spaces in affords privacy in Wyoming. Is that what you're talking about? Let's see. 1 second. Let me.
Look, it's unsealed by a judge. We won't know anything until probably time of trial.
And by the way, just to go back to Neil Langston, if someone is allegedly uncooperative, does that mean they have something to hide? Or have you seen in your experience, maybe they don't want to testify for a variety of reasons?
Both ways. Either someone's got something to hide, or and more often than not, when we get reluctant witnesses, and you know, I 32 years on a job, I worked murders and violent crimes for 25 of them. Most of the time in those instances where we can't get someone to cooperate, it's because out of fear. Their fear of retribution, and they don't want to get themselves involved or their families involved.
Wait, you said even Neo's information has been removed from the IIC? So you can't see it anymore? Neo's information too? Well, damn. It's making it very difficult, honestly. I mean, I could see both sides of the argument, right? You know, that you have these seals and, you know, put everything in gag order. I get it, but like, I think I could see both sides of an argument as to the need for one, but also the difficulty of it, as well as the public, right?
This is also a case that develops and changes rapidly, which makes me always wonder whether or not people have been talking and people have been cooperating. So as I mentioned, if there was that shift from we don't know what happened to Celeste, there might not be any charges beyond concealing her body, and then, oh, maybe it's a homicide investigation. I do wonder if this is a case where deals have been worked out and whether or not people have been incentivized to provide testimony.
Oh.
It all depends on when you talk about a deal. You know, if you say you got somebody who's a co-defendant, if there's a co-defendant at trial and you make a deal with them to testify against another person, that testimony cannot come in until the charge that you're making a deal with is adjudicated. So it can't be two trials going on at the same time. It has to be adjudicated. There has to be a punishment or a sentence, and then that person can come in to testify. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what any of these witnesses are saying because it's sealed. You could have half of them coming in and taking a fifth, but I believe they're probably getting some pretty good information. That's why it's continuing, and they're calling more people.
By the way, did you see this mugshot of him? We have it. Did you see it? Where
he looks pretty
smiling. That was weird.
Yeah, he looks like he's in a good mood.
No,
that was interesting.
I think that he knows, just like 91 Darby said in the chat. 91 Darby said it in the chat as well. You said, Flojo said, that's the Inmate Information Center. Yeah, the IIC or something like that, right? Yeah, so apparently it's his info has been removed. Yeah.
And just to say the least. I mean,
yeah, I did see that.
But you also think about how young they are. I mean, you talk about 23-year-old. What's David, 20 years old? These are young people that investigators might be looking at. I think that's, by the way, something else that everybody talks about. You know, they say if they're looking at David, it's not just in connection with the death of Celeste, but any alleged relationship he had with her. Do you think that's being explored?
Sure, absolutely. There's ages of consent. She's below the age of consent. He's over the age of consent. That's an inappropriate relationship, and not only inappropriate, but illegal. So when we talk about the indictments and the charges, that could very well be part of it.
Do you think they know where David is right now?
I think they probably have a pretty good idea.
Mm-hmm. And we know, as we were previously reported, his attorney, he's retained Blair Burke, who is a very high-powered attorney. So I have to imagine there must be some sort of communication between her and authorities. Just going back, completely different case, but with the Diddy case, right? His attorneys were in constant communication with federal prosecutors about where he is. He's going to come to New York. We've taken his passport. Do you imagine something like that's been going on here?
I would guarantee it. There's no way Blair Burke's going to hide her client. And when it comes time to indictment or for charges, she'll surrender her to the client. No question about it. She'd be foolish not to.
When are we going to learn more about this guy? Are we going to learn more about when he's taken back to LA? Well, we know this.
And you know, there's been no statements from that lawyer. I think, where did we hear that? I think it was it TMZ who said it? I think it was TMZ who said it, that it was Blair Burke, and we kind of all just ran with it. And she doesn't have to give a statement, but in my mind, I'm like, well, I think that we've all assumed it was Blair Burke.
Circumstances of what's going on? How much will the public and the media be aware of this? Oh, wait, hold on. I got an update. Okay. Oh, okay. Listen to this. It appears he was brought in by the U.S. Marshals last night at around 6 p.m. What do you make of that?
U.S. Marshals Task Force works with every jurisdiction in the country. Every department or every county has a U.S. Marshal Task Force that basically they serve warrants. Criminal warrants, they get the criminal warrants, they do all their stuff, ping phones, whatever they have to do, and they find the person. So federal task force, we use it all the time. And that task force is U.S. Marshals and also local law enforcement.
What assets do they provide? Because originally, right, it was supposed to be LAPD coordinating with Montana authorities. Why bring in the U.S. Marshals? What resources do they have that Montana authorities or LAPD doesn't have?
Well, they have the expertise. Well, first of all, LA, you can't. The warrant in LA, once you bring it over to out of state, LA can't really serve it. They have to have local law enforcement.
Yeah.
Local law enforcement do it, and the marshals are a great asset because they have all the information.
They wouldn't just be able to go and take them and pick them up. They need assistance from the U.S. Marshals.
They have access to phone records, and the people that write their warrants to ping phones and to look for people are very good. It's all they do. All they do is get for criminal warrants, serve them, and get the bad guys off the street, and they're very good at it.
By the way, Steve Fisher, who we've had on this program before, he's the private investigator who has been hired by the owner of that property that David had been renting and staying at where the Tesla was found nearby. Neil Langton has been arrested in Montana on a Los Angeles Superior Court warrant for failure to appear for testimony. Lewis and Clark County expects LA County to begin the extradition process. By the way, can you just explain a little bit more about what we can expect with extradition?
Yes, he will go before a judge in Montana, and he will either waive extradition or he'll fight extradition.
Well, that happened quick. On-call judge, on-duty judge. You know, he did the extradition thing, and then he's in Cali.
9 out of 10 times they waive extradition, and they are brought back to the jurisdiction by detectives from that jurisdiction. If he waives it, now it has to go to the governor, or if he fights it, it has to go to the governor of Montana, who has to say, yep, it looks like there's probable cause, you have to go. And that's usually about 30 days. It doesn't happen very often, but that's usually what it does. It's just a formality where it takes about another month.
And you wouldn't really want to fight it if you feel like, you know, you're going back. Like, you would fight it because you're going to stay in jail. If you fight it, you're staying in jail in Montana. Whereas if you're like, okay, I'm not fighting it, let's go back to LA, he's probably not going to be kept in jail. I mean, if he's cooperative and decides to testify or whatever the situation may be, I mean, again, we don't know if he's facing charges or whatnot, but there wouldn't be an incentive for him to fight it per se, right?
No, I wouldn't think so. You're getting a free ride home. And like you said, if you go before the grand jury and you give testimony, you're not going to be locked up. The warrant will take care of itself. All the charges will be dismissed. Now, if he doesn't provide testimony, it's up to them whether or not, it's up to the judge whether or not they want to keep him in jail on contempt charges. And they could.
One thing I forgot to mention is that he did see
he bonded out. There's that.
A judge for a courtesy arraignment today, and he's already being transferred out to Los Angeles. Anything we should be thinking about there?
No, he's not fighting it. And the LA detectives are bringing him back to LA County.
All right. I don't really have much more. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we can report right now. It is an interesting development because there hasn't been much. But Will Sealer, thank you so much for jumping on so quickly and talking about this.
My pleasure.
Shout out to Law&Crime. Y'all make sure you check them out. Let me remove Jesse Weber there. Well, I definitely learned something today, even in this live stream as I was reviewing things, right? So, I mean, I guess we have a lot of questions about, you know, how they're going to move forward and stuff like that. If there is a second suspect, who is it? For sure. And and it's just pull the thank you, Flojo. Flojo just checked the inmate information center. His information is still up there. It hasn't been removed, just so people are aware. So it's still out there. It says that the bond number. Okay. It's still up there. So nothing has been removed. Really isn't going to be something new for a while, but this may have been the reason the arrest was taking so long. Yeah, there you go. You said bye-bye, Jesse. Y'all are funny in the chat. Yeah, the other thing is if you guys not checked out, let me make sure I give because I've been on my toes and on my feet because of Flojo. Make sure you guys check out Flojo. Give him a subscribe. I dropped the link in the chat. Check him out. I mean, he's covering this case. Get him to 1,000 subs. He's almost there. So if you guys can go and sub up, please and thank you. I think Flojo is somebody that's very passionate about this case because, it's at the heart of where he's at. So shut him out. And it's labeled as a felony, he says. Yeah, charge level felony, not misdemeanor, felony, just so people are aware. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go and eat. I'm hungry, so I got to go eat. I want to do a Julio Iglesias video. If y'all know who that is, great. Put a one in the chat. There's some stuff going on with that guy, okay? So we're going to get into that. Tomorrow I'll be live and we'll review Sloan's D4VD video when I'm more awake and everything and, fed. And yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. So don't miss the live tomorrow. I will see you guys mañana, all right? Bye, guys. Hit the like button. Bye, guys. And shout out to everybody that supported today. Thanks, guys.